was born in Sekondi-Takoradi, Ghana, West Africa. And more or less Kujukrum. I lived there till I was 8 and really had a good childhood there. And I remember it was one of the probably best childhoods I had. Well, I know my father was a timber merchant, and he's related to my grandfather was George Alfred Grant Grant, who also was one of the political activists to help Ghana go independent. And also I know that I have relatives further down the line, family tree, with Francis Grant, and on to, I know I have a relation with Arthur Wharton, who was a nephew to my great-grandfather, I think, yeah. Well, it only came to light, Arthur Wharton came to light when I started a project in more or less in Ghana 3 years ago, and I found out that he was the first black professional football player in UK. And again, it came to light when Ghana played England at Wembley, and everybody started to talk about it and about the new foundations, and try to make it honourable for him for what being more or less establishing for black players coming to play in the professional leagues. I have great memories, especially when we used to get plastic bags and use basic ropes and tie up and to use as footballs, and I remember playing football barefooted. I had lots of things, going out in the forest, catching birds, and I've had some fantastic, they're great memories I still have. Well, it was huge difference. Obviously, the infrastructure regards to what we had and what you have now in UK, and obviously we came to UK with absolutely nothing. My mother was more or less, kept us everything, all the family together as much as possible, and she really helped us once we were in UK, and really there was a big difference. And I didn't have any friends. My brothers didn't have any friends when we first came over, so it's more or less we were on our own, and started at secondary school and just went all the way up. And really, when I got to 14, 15, I was playing football for the school team, for the A team and everything, and really went on from there. I got recognised when I was playing for Sussex, and basically it was I scored a goal in Sussex against Surrey, and I got spotted by Charlton Athletics. At that time the youth coach was Colin Clark, and he asked me to come up for a week's trial at Charlton Athletics at the New Eltham, I think the Sparrows Lane, I still remember it. And also at that time I was sort of playing for Brighton Boys, and so I had to make a decision, but because I was with Brighton for a while, so I decided to go to Charlton. Oh, it was great, it's after you see, in my age group, after the second year, we had 9 players, and out of the 10 players, only 4 was taken on. One was me, the other one was Anthony Barnes, the other 2 was Andy Silako, his brother was John Silako, and the 4th one was Danny Wareham, and he was exceptional player, but he didn't get as far as any of us. So out of those 4, only really 2 went on to better things, which was myself and Anthony Barnes. Yeah, I think so, because at that time Charlton spent a lot of money on the youth policy, and they spent a lot on the training ground, because we didn't have a stadium and that. So, and obviously we were renting at Sellers Park to play the game. So it's a case of all the what Charlton did was really produce young quality and really worked on the community, and that really, I think we were probably one of the first clubs to establish this, and really the rest of the other clubs were looking up to Charlton, because I think we had about 8, 7, 9 players being sold every, to other clubs. Well, it went from there really, and I got regular slots in there, and the team really progressed. And we were in the champion. First of all, before it was Premier League, it was First Division, and we got relegated that year, and then really became established like a championship club. And Lenny Lawrence left for Middlesbrough. And then that's when they appointed Alan Kirbishley and Steve Gritt as a joint manager, but that didn't seem to work. So Steve Gritt left, and Alan Kirbishley was sole manager, and he's been there for almost 15 years since then. So I was at Charlton for 9 years, including the youth when I was there as a youth player. So I was there for a very long time, and I was really part of the setup, and I knew from top to bottom how the club grew up, because I grew up with the club, and because we went from nothing to establish to what it is now. So well, it was fantastic, because I had the option. I didn't have the option, but because of my mother's English, my father's Ghanaian, I could either play for England or Ghana. And Ghana came calling for me, and they knew what I'd done, and also they knew the history of my family, power grant, and stuff like that. So it made it even more interesting. And you can say I was more or less the first African European player to come to play for the country. So it's you can say I was the one who's established these foreign players now, who weren't born in Ghana, but are related to Ghana families. Then they come into play, like Prince Boateng and all those people, So, but it was a fantastic time, and I really loved it. And my heart. I was born in Ghana, so it's a case of really playing for the country. That was my pride. No, that wasn't hard at all. I'm quite an independent person, and I like to explore things. I'm not afraid to, do things and take a chance and gamble. So it wasn't a case of move from Ghana to England. That was probably a little bit harder, because that's starting a new life, a new country. That was probably harder. But regards to football, that was my career, and that's something that I decided to do because I wanted to gain more. But regards to Ghana to England, that was a different issue, really. It was a big difference, because I can't be so attached to the lads, as you got to have certain kind of break between as a player and manager. Before I've been player all my life, so you get involved with the players more and everything. But as a manager, I think you got to have kind of a slight distance between yourself and, although as much as you want to be part of the group, which you need to be, you also got to get respect from them and that. But it was a very short period in my management career, which I'm very disappointed in, because I knew that I had things in place, and certain restrictions regards to finances, and people tried to undermine my position and everything. So in the end, it became a situation where it was best for both parties to separate, and that's although it was a fantastic experience, and I'm still looking to get back into management and coaching, and I've been doing other stuff outside that since I left work. Well, I started a project in Ghana 3 years ago. It's to honour my grandfather, George Alfred Grant, and Pa Grant, and there's good history with my family tree, and Pa Grant was more or less one of the people who pushed for independence in Ghana's history, and they were very close. He was very close to Kwame Nkrumah, who was the first president of Ghana, and actually Kwame Nkrumah was at his bedside when my grandfather died. And really, that's really the project's about, starting the football club, helping the community, for people to, you know, get back some, to know their history and everything. And part of the academy, Power Grant Academy, will be to establish the community to be closer and to really develop younger players, pass my experiences on, and hopefully I can give something positive back, charity work and stuff like that, to help the youth, you know, the poverty, and as well as the youth of Ghana, not just for boys, girls as well, and disabilities as well. Well, there's every player has a different quality. So for me, it's not about I have a favorite player. I think every player has its unique quality. So I think they're all my favorite, because I cannot just be specific on one player. But if you really wanted me to push on one, maybe I'm looking at George Weah and maybe Samuel Eto'o. I think they're quite unique players, and also Abidi Pele, because Abidi Pele, when I played with him, he was an exceptional talent, and Antonio Boa as well. So every player has its unique qualities, and I can't really speak because I played with so many fantastic players. Well, I think it's been a major step in this progression, and I'm delighted that now that there's been a lot of black players being involved in the English game, not just English, well, worldwide. And they've, you know, before there was a lot of problems regards to African players not tactically aware of things during football matches and stuff like that. But I think that's changed a lot in the last 10-15 years, because majority of black players now from Africa are being brought into Europe very early age, and they're going into academies and progressing, so they're learning the game and the technology and tactically and methodology of the football, and that's really more or less improved. And now if you look at the African Cup, I would say 70% of all the African players are playing in European leagues, so it just shows you how big impact African players have made contribution to, well, European football.